In this mission, I'm going to show you guys how to decorate the exterior or the outside of our house by making windows. So to start off, go ahead and add a new part, a normal part. We're going to resize this part so that it's basically just a cube. Once we're done with that, go ahead and move your part so that it's on the left side of our house right over here. So I'm working on the left side first. And I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that I don't see that part in the back inside of the house. And it's only showing on the outside. So let's go ahead and resize it so that it looks something like that. And what I'm going to do is create a square window with these parts. So once I am happy with how it looks, let's go ahead and click on the move tool, clone. Let's move it to the side. And I think that looks great right there. Cool. Let's go ahead and create a clone of it again. And this time we'll be using the rotate tool so that it's laying on its side like that. So you can see how when I'm trying to move it, it's not really flushed with the two side parts. Well, super easy fix. You see where it says increment? We're going to change that to 0.1. So by default, it's at 1, but at 0.1, you're just basically moving the part 0.1 studs at a time. So we're going to go ahead and resize it so it looks like that. Let's clone that part and then move it down so that it's flushed with the left and right parts. Nice. Cool. And we have a square. We're almost done. So next up, let's go ahead and create a clone of that bottom part that we just created. Move it so that it's about in the middle of our window. And then let's go ahead and create a clone of our left part and move it to the middle like that. And here we're going to go ahead and resize that part so that it's only taking halfway of our window. So once again, it's not moving how I want it to be. So I'm going to change the increment of it to 0.1 and then resizing it so that it's flushed with the top part right there. Sweet. Looks good. Next up, we're going to create the glass part of our window. What we're going to do here is keep our increment at 0.1 and actually make this part as thin as possible. We're going to move this part so that it's basically sitting flushed with the red wall. So we're going to move it just like that. And you see how there's a big space in front of it as well, kind of giving it that effect that the window's behind, the glass is behind this little border. So we're going to go ahead and resize it so that it takes up all of the two squares on the top and the rectangle on the bottom. And now it's time to go ahead and set the color of our glass by using the paint tool. So now that we're finished with one window, we want to create the exact same window, but on the right side of this wall. If you're using a keyboard, you don't actually have to build the window from scratch. What you can do is hold Shift and select the parts that you want to clone. So by holding Shift, it allows you to select multiple parts without it deselecting the other. So I'm holding Shift and you can see that I'm selecting all of the window parts and the glass part. And then I'm gonna go ahead and click Clone and then just move it to the right of my house. Sweet. And just like that, we got two windows finished. Awesome. Now moving on to our last window, what we're gonna do is add a large window on the side of this house with the same steps that we did earlier, but this time it's just gonna be one large window. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna create 4 parts so that there's a rectangle. And then once we're done with that, we're just gonna go ahead and add a glass, just like how we did on the other 2 windows, but this time making sure that it's thin and then coloring it the same color as our window. Now, you don't have to set the colors the same as mine. You guys have full freedom and control over however you want your window to look, as well as your house. So have fun with the colors. All right, last but not least, let's go ahead and add our door. Now to create a door, it's really simple. What we want to do is, you see how we have our gap here? We're going to create 3 parts so that it's kind of just sitting on the edge of the left, right, and the top parts. So let's go ahead and create a normal part, resize it so that it's basically a square, and then go ahead and move it to one of the edges of your door gap. Make sure that it's sitting flushed with the edge. And then resize it so that it takes up the entire edge right there. And do the same thing on the left side as well as the top. Now let's add our door itself. So let's go ahead and create a normal part and then resize it so that it's just kind of basically a rectangle. And then once again, move it so that it's flush with the door parts that we created. Go ahead and color the door however you want. So one thing you'll notice is that, I can't really go through my door, right? It's blocked. So what you can actually do is open up Build Tools again, and you see where it says K, those little two squares, that's the collision tool. So by default, all of the parts, the collision is going to be on, remember? So all you need to do is go ahead and make sure the collision for our door part is off, and you'll be able to go through it. And just like that, you guys learned how to decorate the outside of your house, and you guys are ready for the next mission.